This time on Ask Rad Rat, we're going to be talking about the ideal sequel to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 and my randomly deteriorating health. Let's do it. Welcome back to Plague Rat video. Haven't done a video on Plague Rat for a while. I think I had coronavirus last time I was sick. This time I have mono. I don't even know how I could have possibly gotten that. I wear a mask everywhere I go. But it must have happened this one weekend. I was going to some pawn shops looking at old games and stuff, and someone must have like licked a game and put it back on the shelf or something. That's my best guess. So if my voice sounds weird, if I look like I'm about to fall asleep, that's why. But anyway, welcome to Rad Rat Video. This is a channel where you can learn about skateboarding and where we talk about all kinds of different skateboarding topics. Got a couple questions for you. First of which is from Graham, who asks, why haven't skating games included flip to grab combos? In Skate, Skater XL, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, etc., you always have to do a flip trick, then grab. The only game I can think of that has included it was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. And I believe kickflip to Indy was the only option, and the heel flip varial lean. Seems like it might be a rather simple controller input, like partially holding down the grab button while you perform the flip trick, then fully press the grab button, for instance. Don't have any experience with game design, so I don't really know how difficult this would be to execute, but I think it would be pretty fun to do on vert or jaws drops when skating games. What are your thoughts? I agree. I think that would be cool because one of the weird things, like in Skater XL, if you want to do a grab, the board flies up to you. So if you're in the school and you want to ollie over the tennis net, it's really, really hard. If you're right in the middle and you time it just right, you'll clear it. Mostly you kind of clip it and you'll make your way over, but if you do a grab, you clear it by a foot, no problem. So like to do a flip into a grab, it never looks like you would expect it to, because you do a kick flip and then the board flies up and then you catch it. Looks kind of weird. That game is missing a ton of tricks, though. There's a lot more that I would want in that game. I would want impossibles. There's a list of stuff that's not in that game. So adding in flip to grab combos wouldn't be a high priority on that one, but maybe Skate 4 could do something like that. You know, like having, because you know the thing about vert, when you do a flip to grab, it doesn't look like a kick flip and then an Indy, right? The board kind of flips out here, then you catch it and pull it back. That's the reason you're doing a grab, because you can't just do a no-handed flip trick on vert. You can, but you can't do it with a ton of air. You can't do it as consistently. It's super hard. So to do a 360 flip on vert, you pretty much have to do a grab to catch it and pull it under your feet. So if there is a way to put that in as an input and have you actually, you know, have the board fly out, you know, in Skater XL, where it's based in physics, that would be really cool. Where every time the board kind of flies away slightly different. If it gets a little behind you, you grab Indy. If it gets a little bit of in front of you, you grab with your front hand, or you know, maybe you got to grab it behind you somehow, something like that. I think that would be really cool. Again, it's kind of low priority. There's a lot of other stuff I would want to see first. Okay. Next question is from Sam Raimi, who says, you mentioned you like Spider-Man. Has anyone ever told you look like you'd make a great Peter Parker, so you don't need glasses right now, just like when Peter got bitten? I do need glasses. They just reflect the light on the camera. I wear them all the time. No one's told me I would make a great Peter Parker. Mostly people say I look like Bill Gates. Like people from all different time periods in my life, different states where I've lived, people I've met in different circles. Someone will always be like, you know who you look like? And I'm like, okay, I know, you don't have to say it. But it's always Bill Gates. No one has ever said I look like anybody else. I guess Bill Gates would be a good Peter Parker, though. You got to be in a little bit better shape because you're secretly a superhero. But yeah, I just picked that just to tell you all that people say I look like Bill Gates all the time. Okay, next question is from Robert, who says, what's wrong with a vertical hard flip or impossible? Seen you comment on these a lot in skate games, but I always thought they looked kind of cool. One of your video intros even uses a vertical impossible. Are these not actually doable in real life? So a vertical impossible, yeah, when I do my 2D graphics and stuff, it's a lot easier to just rotate an image 360 instead of doing a frame by frame, you know, every frame would be in a different angle and all that stuff to do like a normal looking impossible. Doing a vertical impossible isn't bad. I commented on it in the Tony Hawk game because it's really weirdly placed. Like the board flips out here, so it's flipping like straight up in front of him, and then he kind of pulls it back. It doesn't flip kind of beneath you. So I have to cut in real quick here just to show you what I'm talking about. Here's how it used to look. The board goes way out in front. Off the tail looks okay, but off the nose he pushes it like a couple feet ahead of him for no real reason. But I turned the game on today to get some footage, and it actually looks like this now. So they actually seem to fix it. So I don't really have that criticism about this game anymore. And that's what looks weird. The fact that it's vertical, I don't love, because doing it that way is really hard. So the thing is, let me use my Los Dos Bandidos cover. So if your back foot is right here on the tail, wraps around fully vertical end over end, it lands here in the middle of the board. If you do a fully wrapped impossible like that, you'll land with your foot dead center. You can't really land bolts that way. So to me, the best way to do an impossible, I'll try to show you one of mine. It starts off kind of vertical, but then it ends flat. So you're kind of changing the angle in the air, which makes it stick to your foot. If you see people really good at impossibles, they'll tend to do it that way. You can get more height on that one because if it ends flat, you can clear more. You can actually catch it with some height that way. It's just a better way to do it. The only clip I have of a vertical impossible is not actually an impossible. So I did a trick where I had the board do a backflip without a wrap at all. And I filmed it and I posted on Instagram, and people are like, oh, nice impossible. Because of the camera angle, you can't tell my back foot isn't actually touching it. It kind of scoops. It scoops like forward like it's going to, and then I pull back and it just flips like a backflip. Yeah, it looked fine. It just wasn't an impossible. But yeah, so I just kind of don't like those. And then with the hard flip, it's not the common way to do it now. So for the Tony Hawk games to have a vertical hard flip, I mean, just search hashtag hard flip on Instagram, watch how many people do them, and count how many are vertical, like completely vertical. I don't mean steep. I mean end over end, halfway through the trick, the board is like this. Count how many people actually do it that way. It's very, very few. So it's not wrong. It's just like picking a really weird, specific niche style, you know? You know how some people, when you do a 360 flip, they catch it with their front foot and their back foot's like way out here and they bring it back. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a style of doing it. But if that was in a game, it would really draw attention to itself, because it's not just a 360 flip. It's like this guy's specific 360 flip. You know, it's just like, if every skater has the exact same hard flip, why is it this one really specific weird one? That's my problem with it. So it's not a big deal. I would choose to change it, but I'm not going to say that it's wrong either. Okay. Josh, Tony Hawk 1 and 2 reached 1 million sales recently, making a sequel inevitable. If Vicarious Visions came to your door and appointed you lead creative director of the next Tony Hawk game with the only caveat that it can't be a remake, what would that game look like? Would it have a story, classic 2-minute goals, what tricks would you have in it, etc.? Okay, I'm going to answer what I would actually want, and then I'll answer your question, because mine is a remake. So what I would want, the game is called Tony Hawk 3 Plus. Okay, so if you haven't played the new one, when you go into the tours, which is where, you know, like the goals stuff, there's Tony Hawk 1, then there's Tony Hawk 2, and then there's like the speed runs and the single sessions and stuff like that. So this new one would be Tony Hawk 3, and then not Tony Hawk 4, because they're two different. It would be all new. So half the game would be new stages that are similar to Tony Hawk 3, and they kind of match together. So a much expanded version of Tony Hawk 3. So it would be called Tony Hawk 3 Plus. What you got? That's what I would actually want. But to answer your question, so I would say that it would still be classic mode, like timers and all that stuff. No story, anything like that. But the big difference would be that the levels are a lot bigger and the timer is maybe longer. So maybe 3 minutes or 4 or something like that, depending. And the stages are a lot bigger. And you can maybe pick your drop-in point. So you can start, you know, like picture school too. You can start in the normal spot where you do, or by the Gonzrail or the Carlsbad Gap. So, you know, imagine if that level is 10 times that size, it would help to be able to pick different spots. So all the skate, you know, if you wanted to collect skate, you might start over here. If you wanted to get all the bells, they're all over in this region. And so there would be a lot more stuff to do in a level that's much bigger. And that's kind of the direction I would want to go. It's an all new stage, like everything's brand new, but it's a lot bigger. Like playing the games now, if you play any of the contest levels from Tony Hawk 1, Roswell, Burnside, and the Chicago Skate Park, they're tiny. Like as soon as you start a combo going, there's just a wall. You know, there's nowhere to go. It feels really weird for a new game in 2020 to be that tiny, you know, because it's 20 years old. But so, you know, they would take advantage of technology and have the levels be bigger and have more stuff to do in them and have it be so that you don't run out of game so quickly. So really big levels, lots of stuff to do. Bring back combo. I think that would be kind of cool. So you collect the combo. That started in Tony Hawk 4, so they decided not to bring that back for this, but I think it'd be perfectly fine in the sequel. So you collect combo. Maybe there's a few of these. Maybe they're green in this area and there's some purple ones over here, so you don't mix and match, like getting them from different ones. But different lines you can collect combo, different things like that to do. And then here's the way I would like to see it end. So you finish the game, and then kind of like in Tony Hawk 4, you unlock the pro challenges. So this was something that happened in that game. It was like a harder level of challenges that come out after that. And so like at this point, you can assume your stats are full, so you can put stuff higher up. You have really difficult combo, combos that you have to do and scores that you have to get, high combo scores, all kinds of stuff like that would be a lot harder. So you beat the game and then start over and everything's harder. I think that would be really cool, and just having some difficulty in it. So one thing that I remember being really difficult, it was Tony Hawk 2. It was on the Game Boy Advance, and in the New York level, there was like, so that game, your character was 3D, but the stage was not. It was like a 3D perspective, but it was a flat picture of it. So you couldn't rotate the camera or anything. And to get the secret tape, you had to like wall ride up and then grind this rail, then jump and grind, jump, grind, jump, grind, jump, grind, turn around, wall ride, do it back up. And it was this really hard timing. You could barely see it because the camera, and it was really, really hard to get it. And it was hard to find it because there was no, you can't move the camera and look. So it was hard for maybe not quite fair reasons, but actually collecting that tape was really hard. And I think it needs to be a little bit more like that. So once you beat the game on the standard mode, once you get into the pro challenges, there's some really difficult things to do. You see the tape up there, but you've got to grind all the way around here, then switch back, and then do this, and your balance has to be held for a really long time as you do it. Just some harder stuff. So some of the pro challenges in 4 were like that were just really hard. I would just want to see some more difficulty in the sick mode. So that's something I want. Something else I want. I've been doing some of the challenges. So not the goals in the level. The challenges are like, as you're playing as Tony Hawk, do a 900, and that counts. And then as Tony Hawk, do whatever, all of his special tricks. And then there's one that says, do all of your special tricks in one combo. These are all challenges that pops up on the screen and says that you completed them. But the problem is a lot of them are shared between skaters. There's one, like doing your special tricks. All the skaters have those. Some say like get gold in all of the contests. Some of them are get the 6 score in the level as one combo. But it's just the same things over and over and over. I would like to see a lot more creative things with that. So I'm picturing a level where there's like paint cans around. and they have nothing to do with the actual goals in the level. You never collect them, you never do anything with them. But as Chad Muska, there's a challenge that says that you have to do his special grind past all of the paint cans, and only as him. And so you actually have like a special bonus thing that's unique to him, and every character would have some of their own unique things. I think that would add to making the game have some more depth to it. I mean, there's a lot to the current game. It would take a while to get through all of them. I've 100%ed it with like 4 or 5 characters, something like that. It only takes maybe an hour to get all the stats and then do all the challenges. But lots of stuff like that would make it in there too. So yeah, I think just bigger, but really the same as far as the gameplay. I would not add any more tricks, any getting off your board or any stuff like that they added in later. Special tricks, sorry about that. Special tricks, I mean, if I was the lead creative designer, I would fix a lot of the ways that tricks look. I would probably spend a couple of months just going through and being like, no, a nollie 360 flip does not spin that way, and actually trying to fix everything that's there. If it had the same exact tricks that it does now, but they all looked perfect, that would be fine. To add more tricks in would be great, but wouldn't really be my priority. So that's my dream for Tony Hawk going forward, and then my answering your question idea for how they can move the series forward. So let me know what you think about your dream sequel to Tony Hawk 1 and 2 in the description. But that's it for now. If you have your own questions, go to radratvideo.com and you can submit them there. You can also submit them on Patreon, where I'll definitely respond to you either directly in a message or on video, depending on what the question is. And that's it for now. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.